Welcome to 50 Shades of Shil A, the podcast where nothing is off limits. As a multidimensional sovereign mom, partner, CEO, serial entrepreneur, speaker, and best-selling author, I am on a mission to help more women and men become fully embodied in their sovereignty and power so they can live their truth, speak it unapologetically, and live a life free from the matrix. Each week, I will bring you episodes that will awaken you, inspire you to think outside of the box, and step into the leader that you know that you are. The world needs more people who are walking their talk and unafraid to stand in their truth, and I'm here as your guide to help you do just that. To 50 Shades of Shil A. Today's episode is a little bit different. I am doing it live from my bathtub because today's episode is all about manifesting. And manifesting started for me by manifesting my bathtubs. So I thought it was appropriate. And to be honest, this is the only place that I really get quiet in. This is how we're going to do it. So for those of you that are watching on video, hopefully you don't get a little nip slip. And for those of you that are listening on sound only, just have the visual of me in my bathtub. And so when I first started manifesting, there was a show on TV. I think it was called Rev Run. And if it wasn't called Rev Run, there was a guy, Reverend Run. He was a rapper. And at the end of each show, he would sit in his bathtub with his BlackBerry, I think they were called. They were like the old school Microsoft cell phones when they came out. And he would write his thoughts into the phone. And he had a TV in his bathtub, and he had this beautiful bathroom. And I remember just manifesting. I'm so grateful for my bathtub. I'm so grateful for the TV in my bathtub or in my bathroom. And I just loved it. And I put the energy out there and wouldn't put that the first house that I purchased, my bathroom ended up with a TV. But you have to be careful with what you wish for. Okay, I'll tell you that story in just a minute. So that's the way that manifesting works. Manifesting, the universe is always listening and the universe is always going to deliver to you. There is never a time that you're not going to actually get what you ask for. It's just that it's going to take a little bit longer sometimes than it does for other people. And the reason for that is, are you ready to hold what you're asking for? And with the greater the things that you manifest, the greater the test or the lesson comes with it. So for instance, in that situation, we were house shopping and the housing market was way above our budget. And my one non-negotiable was having a bathtub that I could submerge my whole body into, because I did 3 pregnancies with a tiny little bathtub, and I used to work long hours on my feet, and all I would want to do is come home and take a bath. And so a bathtub was a great manifestation of mine. I think I worked on that for 8 years. And so we went house shopping. We were like at the very end, we were going to have to re-sign our lease. And we ended up finding this beautiful house that was within our budget. It was actually below our budget. It had one last bedroom that we were looking for, but it had this room with a loft that we were like, okay, the kids could share this room and it wouldn't be like that bad. And it didn't have a bathtub, but because it was below our budget, I was going to have the money to do the bathtub, or so I thought. So when you go buy a house, a lot of times you have the budget for the mortgage, but you don't think about having things like cash on hand. And so a patient of mine at the time recommended me to this contractor that she had been working with and she was so happy with. And silly me didn't do any research because I used to just trust. Now I am the research queen. But back then I was lazy and I'm like, this person said that he was great and whatever. And so we decided to not do any permits and to just start demolition, like literally the minute we got our keys. And on the first day, the walls came down, and we had a massive ant situation that we thought was a termite situation, which was horrible. And so that delayed us. And then we actually found a dildo in the wall. So that was fun because whoever built the house, like, really christened the house. And then on day two, when they finally came back and they started demolition again, the guy, like, broke through the top level and fell into the bottom level of my house. It was a total disaster. It ended up costing us way more than it needed to cost. It cost us years of our life. I don't know if anybody's ever lived through construction, but I can promise you that I probably will not do that again, even though sometimes I think I want to, and then I have to remind myself of that situation. But I ended up getting my beautiful bathtub. I ended up getting a TV in my bathroom. It was a half-ass job. We didn't fix it until we were ready to move, but that's the way that it goes in construction. But the universe delivered. And I got exactly what I asked for, but I wasn't specific. I didn't say that I wanted a beautiful house with a beautiful built-in bathtub until I got to this house, because this house has a beautiful built-in bathroom. The bathroom is huge. It's like everything that I could have dreamed of. So this was the house after that house. And one of my greatest manifestations is about to come true this week. And I am going to air this show after it happens. So I'm going to talk about it right now. A few years ago, my grandmother was sitting outside on my deck with me, and it was during election time. And I said to her, Babushka, which is what I call her, I just want you to know that one day I'm going to meet President Trump. And so we were driving home from the shore the other day. We went a little staycation, and we stopped at a rest stop, and I came out of the bathroom, and my fiance said, I just got a call from so and so, and he wanted to know if we were free Tuesday night. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, because there is a reception and a dinner with President Trump. I'm going to be free Tuesday night. Whatever it takes, I'm going to be there. And so this is the way that the universe works. I could tell you stories upon stories of things that have manifested for me, even when they seem like totally impossible. I feel like my mission in life now is to show people that I am able to defy the impossible every time. This is a great story. Years ago, I really wanted to see Britney Spears in Las Vegas. Like, I wanted to see her so bad, and I had already seen her twice. So I just love her in concert. She puts on a great show. She's a really good time. And my fiance was like, I'm not going to Vegas ever. He's like, I have no desire to be in the middle of the desert. He's a beach person. There's just no way you'll ever get me to go to Las Vegas. And I'm like, never say never. I'm telling you that I'm going to see Britney Spears in Las Vegas. So every time I saw a commercial with her concert, I would like just be so grateful, and I would imagine myself there. And I had already been to her concert, so I like really was able to like feel the vibration of being there. And then the one day I get a phone call, and it's the lover, which is what I call my fiance. And the lover says to me, you are not going to believe this. And I said, what? And he said that one of the companies that he does business with does this trade show every year. And he goes to this trade show every year, no matter where they put it on. And that year, they decided to do it in Las Vegas. And within minutes of that phone call, I got an email with front row seats to Britney Spears. And that is the way that manifesting works. It's like the things that we just put out into the universe and we detach ourselves from and we let go of, but the vibration is so high around the desire, that's when it comes to us easily. Imagine if I like tried to meet President Trump and I just kept putting it out there. It was like one conversation that I had with my grandmother, and I just believed it to the core, because my very first coach that I hired, I went to this free event. I say free in quotations because that event ended up costing me $15,500. That was my introduction to coaching back in 2017, I think that was. And so this guy was telling stories about how he went to Trump Towers and he was trying to meet President Trump, and he couldn't meet President Trump, but somehow he made his way into George's office. For those of you that are Apprentice fans, all those years ago, George was President Trump's right hand man. And on the show, he would be one of the advisors that they advise the people with. And back then, I was a single mom living on food stamps. I desperately wanted to be on that show. I am a little bit of a marketing genius when I am all in on something. I love to come up with creative ideas. So I used to sit in my leopard recliner chair and I would just imagine myself to be on that show. But I was a single mom. My son was little. There was no way that I could go be on the show, even though it was in New York City. It just was not happening for me. But deep down inside, I just knew that one day I would put myself in a situation where I would be on that show somehow. So here is this coach telling us about how he made this connection with George. And then he ended up going into his whole sales thing, and I met with him one on one. And he was like, okay, he was trying to make a deal with me with some of his experiences. And one of the experiences was coaching at his house. And George from The Apprentice, Donald Trump's right hand man, was going to be there. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is my opportunity to be on The Apprentice, even though the show is off the air now. But this was like a different version of The Apprentice. And that is how manifesting works. Like sometimes it's not a straight up desire, sometimes it is the manifestation of the closest thing to the desire. And so by being in these circles and meeting George Ross, and the man was incredible. He was so amazing to learn from. I actually got to meet him several times after that. And it's just the level of intelligence and expansion and knowledge to be around people like that. I got to tell my grandmother today that I'm going to go be with President Trump this week. And she was like, why would you want to go meet him now? They're making him out to be so bad and like with everything happening. And I was like, because just to be like in his presence, right? This man was the president of the United States of America. This man like has accomplished so many things in his lifetime. It's like, why wouldn't I want to be in a room with him? Obviously, if I didn't like him, then I probably wouldn't want to be in the same room with him. But if you didn't know, I do love Trump. I thought he was an amazing president, and I've loved him ever since The Apprentice. And just so you guys know, the goddess of gratitude was created because of President Trump. It was in the boardroom that one day he said, you have to say thank you 20 times a day. And at that time, I was just learning about gratitude. I was just learning about the law of attraction. And so he was very much in alignment with everything that I was learning. And when Donald Trump said you have to say thank you 20 times a day, you bet your bottom dollar that sister here started being grateful 20 times a day. And it was life changing for me. And every single thing that has happened since then has been life changing for me. And every single thing that you desire is on its way to you. All you have to do is believe. And then you have to grow and you have to expand and you have to allow for that to happen to you, right? One of my manifestations is to become a millionaire. And I look back all those years ago, like we're going back to probably 2009. We're in 2022 right now. There was no way that I would have been able to handle $1 million at that point in my life. Like I was straight up on food stamps. There was so many things that I needed to heal in my money stories, in my ancestor stories, in my generational stories. There were so many things that I needed to clear up that if the money came to me first, I wouldn't have gone through the same process of what I went through to get to where I am now. And so now I'm so open to receiving that kind of money and I'm able to handle that kind of money. It's you have to go through these different phases. Like you hear all the time about people who win the lotto and then like they spend all the money or they lose all their money. Like they can't hold it because they haven't expanded their consciousness in order to hold it. So that's for all of the things in life, right? It's like when I manifested love, my ex and I were split for 2.5 years. until I manifested Ben Lover. And the work that I did on myself in those 2.5 years was like so much. It's like hard for me to even explain to you. But first of all, I hired my self worth. I hired my desire to be seen as a woman. I used to be a feminist. If a guy tried to open a door for me, like I would get offended. And if somebody tried to pay for dinner for me, like there was no way, like I had to pay for dinner myself. So that was a lot of untraining that I needed to do. Those were a lot of beliefs that I needed to rewrite because the whole point of receiving is you have to be able to receive on all levels, like in a relationship with a man, allowing someone to pay for dinner for you, allowing someone to respect you enough to open a door for you, to hold your hand. Like the whole era of feminism is really like a made up thing by George Soros. I don't know if you guys actually know that, but feminism was created as like a play on women to make them think that there was something wrong with men. But the role of a man, the role of the masculine is really important. There's a very fine balance between feminine and masculine. And it's something that I've really needed to learn in my lifetime because I've gone through levels in my relationship where I become very masculine because when I'm in the mode of making money, that's just the way that I become. And it's hard for me to receive sometimes. It's hard for me to allow myself to be taken care of. But deep down inside, I truly desire that. And it's so lovely when I do it. In my relationship with my partner, he actually feeds on being in the masculine and providing for me. So when I take over the masculine, it throws off our gender roles and it puts a strain on our relationship. That's been like a really huge part of our expansion and why a lot of people tell me that they wish to have the love that I have, and I wish that everybody in the world can experience the love that I have. But it's taken a lot of work to get to where I am because you have to work on your receiving sequence. There is codes within you that you have to allow for that to come through and you have to be able to hold it. My mentor always talks about the bathtub and how we fill up the bathtub, but we forget to turn up the stopper. So if you forget to turn up the stopper, then you're receiving and it's just falling right through you, right? Like it's just going down the tub. Have you ever done that? I've done that where I filled up the tub, forgot to put on the stopper, and then like I get in and the water is cold because all the hot water ran out and that just sucks. So what I want you to get out of this podcast is you have to open yourself up to receiving, number one, and receiving in compliments. When someone tells you, oh, your hair looks so nice, don't respond, oh, really, I'm turning gray. I don't really like it. Oh, thank you so much. I'm like really becoming myself with my silver in my hair. Or when somebody tells you, oh, you look great in that dress, don't turn around and be like, oh, really? I feel so fat. Thank you. Start receiving by allowing the comments to come through. And in your affirmations, in your manifestations, I want you to start being grateful. I am grateful that I get compliments every day. I'm grateful that I am open to receiving nice things from other people and allow for that to happen to you. I'm grateful for unexpected surprises. And you'll see people will start buying coffee for you. People will open the door for you. Allow that to happen because that is a part of manifesting. You have to be able to receive. So if you're not able to receive, then those big desires that you're asking for, they're just going to keep passing by you. You're not going to be able to hold on. I am the queen of manifesting. I just love it. I can tell you story after story about all of the things that I've called into my life. And now I'm so at peace because for the first time in my life, I am able to just be patient because I know that everything is coming my way. And so my biggest problem pre-COVID was that I wanted it and I wanted it now. It was like I needed it and I needed it yesterday. I want to be in front of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people, but I wanted to do that 10 years ago. And it's I now understand that I have the 6th line in human design. And by the 6th line, it's my time is coming. It hasn't even started yet. So the fact that I've accomplished so much in the time that I've been doing what I'm doing, and now it's like, it's all coming. And so it's all about being patient. It's all about living in the moment, enjoying the moment, being in the now and knowing that if you're grateful for every single thing that you have, that every single one of your desires is on its way to you. I promise you that. I know from experience tells me that over and over, time and time again. And it took me a really long time to get to this place. So I'm hoping for you that it doesn't take you that long. I thank you for joining me in my tubby time today. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, I hope that you got a total treat by being in my bathroom with me. For those of you that are listening, I thank you for listening. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for rating the show. I thank you for going to my socials on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, liking my things, sharing my things. Help me beat the algorithms because I am being shadow banned. They don't like the truths that I put out in the world. But I love you guys. If you want to work with me, I host a masterclass every single month. The masterclass pass is amazing. You can buy the class or you can buy the pass, and that gives you access to me. Every month is something different. We have a different theme. Sometimes I do meditation, sometimes I do activations, and whatever wisdom comes through. It's also live Q&A, so you're able to get some coaching with me. Anybody that is interested in working with me one-to-one, I am opening up mentorship for one-to-one again. It is amazing. We get to work together for 3 months. I also have an intro. If you want to do like a 1-week sampling, we can do that as well. And we just break down your life, your health, your business. If you have one, if you don't have one, if you want to build one, I can help you do that. Whatever it is that you need to work on, it's like my magic, right? When people are like, what do you do? It's what don't I do? I've accomplished so many things in my life. I've owned so many businesses in my life. I've had massive success. I have attracted the love of my life. I have the most beautiful family. My children are incredible. And my desire is that everybody gets to feel the way that I feel. I love you so much. Thank you for joining me on 50 Shades of Shil, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for listening to 50 Shades of Shil. Your support means the world to me, and most of all, I love knowing that these episodes are creating massive impact in your life. Love the episode, share the love on social media, and tag me at 50 Shades of Shil, and let us know your favorite takeaway. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, as it helps us get into the ears and hearts of more listeners who need our message and be entered to win some incredible prizes. I am so grateful for you. Thank you.